Okay, I'm going to just start this one. It's casual geographic. Oh,
The
what's
video's
that?
fake, but what's real is the hate I have for y'all for making me watch this so many times. As you can tell from the soul-sapped eyes, those fish are dead and probably being controlled by whoever's recording like a sick corpse puppet. Fish don't move like that, and they sure as hell don't bury themselves in the sand outside the water, so they're clearly being manipulated by somebody just outside the camera shot. And after being inside the rotting carcass of two fish, even if that eel was alive, I promise you he'd be dead in all the ways that matter. Also, the guy that posted that video on YouTube also made this, and if you think a satanic
Why?
fish orgy is real, then I have some beachside property I would love to sell to you.
I've got a beach house I could sell you in Idaho. Frank Ocean. I was just trying to collect my thoughts on that, but I'm more curious about what was going through the person's mind who set up that shot. It's a bit twisted.
So yeah, the video's fake, everything in it's dead, including me, because witnessing this demonic deep throat killed a part of me that was hanging by a thread for many years. Long story short, clout makes people do unspeakable things, and orchestrating a dead fish hentai scene in the very much 4K is one of them. Now I'm gonna go take out my contacts for the rest of the week because I've seen more than enough.
But why? Why do beavers build dams?
So beavers are like a happy meal of bears, cougars, and wolves, so they build lodges to keep from getting eaten. Beavers build dams to block water flow to create ponds. Despite what you might think, beavers don't live in the actual dam. Instead, they build lodges in the middle of the pond and chill there. The lodges have an underwater entrance, but the den is above water. So if a beaver ever gets pressed by like a wolverine or something, having waterside real estate means they can always escape home easily. Also, the beaver lodge is self-heating and keeps the family warm during the winter. And because beavers have been doing this for like 8 million years, now they just do it out of habit. In some places, beavers will build protective bunkers even when there's no predators like bears around. Beavers have such an urge to build dams that just the sound of running water triggers them, and they use it as a cue to make repairs on the dam and the lodge. No, I'm like, seriously, if you record the sound of running water and then play it on a speaker for a family of beavers, you make them want to build. One scientist actually played the sound of running water on a loudspeaker, and the beavers instinctively started building a dam over the speaker. Don't let my lack of emotion fool you. It's the cutest thing I've ever heard. This is how...
That's very wholesome. Beavers have a pretty respectable job in the animal kingdom. Builder.
Wolves and ravens are slowly becoming best friends. Ravens in Yellowstone will call out to wolves when they find food and then lead the wolf pack to a free meal. In exchange, the ravens take the leftovers the wolves leave behind. And there can be up to 100 ravens waiting for their turn after the wolves. The wolves tear the carcass to shreds and make it easier for the ravens to take their share. But it turns out the ravens are actually starting to form relationships with the wolves, especially the pups. Ravens were seen grabbing sticks and playing tug-of-war with the young pups and even snapping at their tails to get the pups to playfully chase them. And most of the time, the wolves play along. Ravens are smart enough to remember a face after 5 years, which is why scientists believe that specific ravens have started bonding with individual wolves in the pack. So not only have wolves and ravens realized that they're better off with each other, they've even started forming emotional attachments, which means there's a chance that if you take food out of the equation, they'd still want to be around each other. I swear there's a Disney movie in here somewhere. So after thousands of years of living around each other, wolves and ravens have learned to tolerate, benefit from, and eventually trust each other. You absolutely love to see it.
I do. That's a matchup that I wouldn't have expected in real life. Outside of some sort of Norse mythology. Do you guys know Odin? With the wolves and the ravens.
Arctic fox facts that you definitely need in your life. They actually change colors based on the season. They're Caucasian canines during the winter to help them hide, but come summer they code switch to brown or gray. When the days get longer, it causes hormonal changes, which causes the color change. Since they live in an air-conditioned hell, the ice fox will use its tail as a blanket to stay warm. Also, being white helps keep them from freezing to death. White fur is hollow, which traps more heat and saves them from becoming a furry popsicle. Since they have the warmest coat in the Arctic, they can survive temperatures as low as negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit. For reference, at negative 18, your exposed skin would freeze in less than 15 minutes. They're basically snow chihuahuas. They're that small. Most of them don't weigh more than 10 pounds, and their tail is a third of their size. Despite their size, they're born with the audacity to steal from, no exaggeration, the biggest predator on the planet.
Who?
That is an EDP. Tiny foxes will steal food from polar bears, even though the ice bears can easily turn them into a chalk outline with zero hesitation. Sometimes when foxes get really down bad, they'll eat polar bear poop to survive. Since the Arctic fox lives in a refrigerated graveyard, they'll hide emergency food supplies in a bunch of underground pantries. One fox was caught with a snack stash of 38 birds, 4 rabbits, and about a dozen eggs. They mate for life, and they're usually monogamous, meaning they only have one partner. They live in Satan's cooler and still find love, yet here you are watching this video alone in bed. Now that's tough. But when there's more food in an area, the fox couple will start to sleep around because, like Chris Rock said, you're only as faithful as your options. For future relationship reasons, that was a joke. There's an...
What are other monogamous animals? The only ones that come to my mind, I think beavers are anonymous? No. Monogamous. Seahorses, that bird, lovebirds. How could I have forgotten that? And I can't think of anything else off of the top. If you can think of a monogamous animal, write it down.
Animal related to a squirrel that can get you murked by a lion. This is an African crested porcupine. As a rodent, it pulls up to the same reunion as capybara, beavers, and rats. And there's about 30,000 reasons why you don't want no smoke with them. Cause when threatened, the porcupine will turn around, run backwards, and then shank you with the quills growing out of its back. If one of the quills gets in your skin, it'll swell up and push deeper until it hits vital organs or arteries, and at that point you can go ahead and pick what shoes you want in your casket. But don't worry, that's not the worst thing about them. Cause these spiked gerbils will run fades with lions and win. A porcupine can cripple a full-grown lion to the point where it can't hunt anymore. It's like the lion version of tearing your ACL, just out for the season. So if a lion gets put on a stretcher by a porcupine and can't hunt anymore, they'll get so desperate that they'll start hunting the animal that lives in your mirror. In 1965, one lion hashtagged so many people that it was called the man-eater of Darajani. But there was a reason this lion chose homicide. The lion had gotten so injured by a porcupine that his only option was to hunt and eat humans. Moral of this video, this blade beaver is such a menace that it can get you body bagged by a lion. That is a scientifically accurate sentence, and it really shouldn't be. So like, you know hedgehogs and porcupines aren't related, right? Porcupines are rodents, meaning they're cousins with beavers, capybaras, squirrels, and rats. You can tell because they all have the same pair of Timmy Turners. Hedgehogs actually aren't rodents, they're part of a family called me. Hedgehogs are part of the family Arinaceae, and their closest cousin is this guy you've probably never heard of called a gymnor.
I haven't heard of Timmy Turner in years. Now I can't think of what show he was on. Nickelodeon something.
Also called a moon rat, but with a face like that, nobody really calls him. And both hedgehogs and gymnors are closely related to moles and true shrews. And then you have the echidna, who isn't related to porcupines or hedgehogs. Instead, it's a monotreme, which means Knuckles pulls up to the same family reunion as Perry. And the reason all three look so similar without being related is because this weird thing called convergent evolution. Basically, like you and your boys come up with the same answer to a test and a teacher accuses you of cheating, but each of you came up with it on your own. The spiny duck, the fur cactus, and the blade beaver all came up with similar answers to the test of life. The more you know. Stealing one of the
The Sweet Life of Zach, no, Fairly Odd Parents. That's where Timmy Turner's from.
Sheep was punishable by death penalty according to an old English law in Wales, but the punishment for having with one was only 10 years. So in order to avoid the death penalty and just take the 10 years, if a thief was ever caught in the act of stealing a sheep, they would just pull their pants down and say they weren't stealing it, but trying to steal their innocence. And apparently one of the lines a guy caught in the act used was, "I'm not a thief, I'm just a pervert." And it actually worked. They were able to Eurostep the death penalty, but they had to live a life with a reputation of being a sheep stuffer. Yeah, that story's not true, like, at all. Not like, it's 100% cap, but it's one of the foulest fake stories I've ever read, so I just wanted to talk about it.
Do you guys remember season 1 of Black Mirror, where there's an episode, the princess is kidnapped, and the abductor demands that the prime minister have with a pig on live TV in order to save her? I don't know how they came up with that storyline, but that was season 1, episode 1.
Also, some guy in Wales called a police officer a sheep and got arrested, so yeah, kind of a soft spot. You know, one of the most messed up things nature ever did was cock block an innocent whale for no reason at all. So the story goes, in 1989, the US Navy picked up on a weird sound vibrating throughout the Pacific Ocean. Definitely wasn't a submarine, and scientists quickly realized that whatever was making that sound was returning to the same spot every year. They realized it was a whale, but this whale was special. This whale was calling out at a frequency of 52 Hz, where other whales like the blue whale sing between 10 to 40. Basically, imagine you had a phone with a number that couldn't call or be called by anybody. And since no whale ever called back, scientists believe this was the world's loneliest whale. Technically, blue whales are solitary to begin with, so probably not the loneliest, but definitely the horniest, since whales like the blue whale and humpback sing to pull females. And since one blue whale wrinkleberry can weigh over 150 pounds, poor guy physically had the worst case of blue balls the world had ever seen. Leading scientists believe this done wrong whale was a result of either having damaged vocalization or being a bluefin hybrid. But some scientists believe he isn't as lonely as we thought, because even though he hits notes he has no business hitting, it's possible other whales actually can hear him. But popular opinion says its 52 Hz booty call has gone unanswered for years, which is why this whale allegedly lives in complete isolation. Long story short, basically the whale got crotch Nazi'd by his own voice. And BTS made a song about it. Because of course they did. Low-key, this would actually make a pretty good movie. And someone actually made it. The Loneliest Whale is in theaters right now, and it'll be on demand July 16th. Check it out if you want to learn more about the whale nature decided would die a virgin. Cause getting over is the closest he'll ever get.
Oh, that was a good one. This video is over a year old, so the movie's probably already out. Huh. Some lettuce. You guys into ASMR? Me neither. I don't know the draw to listening to people eat. This is cute, though. It's going on a bit too long. Huh. Sounds like they're in Japan, I think, from the background. Okay, that was some more animal information. You're gonna find this guy's channel and the video linked in the description. He's called Casual Geographic, and he's clever, so we respect him. If you have any random animal information, any animal fun facts, we'll say, to share, please do that. This one was probably the most wholesome of all of the videos that I've seen of him. I'm also going to look for which animals are monogamous after this, because I think it's quite a few. Other than that, I don't have a literary recommendation for you today, but that's mostly because I can't think of a book on any of the subjects that he spoke of. I can tell you what I'm reading though. Actually listening to, it's an audiobook, The Talented Mr. Ripley. That's also a movie. I've never seen the movie. It's by an author called Patricia Hightower or Highsmith. I'll put her name right here along with the title of the book. But it's about this man, Tom, who leaves New York and goes to Italy under the guise of, well, I guess he actually was going there for that reason, to go get his friend Dickie, because Dickie's parents want him back in the US. And Dickie's over there living the life in Italy. But once Tom gets there, he realizes that he really likes Dickie's life. And he pretty much resolves to do whatever it takes to keep Dickie's life for himself. And it becomes this thriller. If you've ever seen the movie, please don't tell me how it ends. I'm 7 hours in, and there's about 9 hours and 15 minutes of this audiobook, and it's for free on YouTube, so I will link it down in the description for you, as long as the real book if you want to buy it for yourself. Other than that, that's really all I've got. So leave your thoughts on anything he said, leave your animal information facts, and as always, just thank you for watching with me.